In the simplest terms, osmosis is the diffusion of water. So what is diffusion again? Well, diffusion is the movement of particles along a concentration gradient from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Often that's across a semi-permeable membrane. So what's osmosis then? Osmosis is the movement of water along a concentration gradient from an area of high water concentration to an area of low water concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. Alright, so there's a bit there, isn't there? So it's diffusion of water, it's the movement of water from an area that's high in water to an area that's low in water, and it goes across a semi-permeable membrane. So let's have a look at a couple of different scenarios. We're going to use the scenario of a slice of potato in a beaker of water. And we're going to have three scenarios. So here's our three scenarios. We have got potato slice in beakers of water. And in those beakers of water we've got different amounts of salt. So on this side we have got fresh water. On this side we've got very, very salty water. I'll tell you more about the middle one in a moment. Okay. So, inside our potato, we have got salt and we've got water. Now, what we're interested in here is the difference between the concentration of salt and water in our potato versus in the water on the outside. Now, fresh water, I mean it's got no salt in it. Okay, now, so what we're going to say is the water on this outside has got a low concentration of salt. And when we're talking about the concentration of water, we're talking about it relative to the salt. So it's got low salt, that means it must have high water. Okay, so the water on the outside is fresh water, lots and lots of water, very little or no salt, compared with inside the potato. So we're just comparing with inside the potato. So on the inside we have got a higher concentration of salt and we have got a lower concentration of water. So let's assume that the salt isn't able to move in and out of the potato. So it's only going to be the diffusion of water. And the diffusion of water is going to move along a concentration gradient from an area of high water concentration to an area of low water concentration. So it's going to then move into the cell or into the potato, into the cells of the potato. So what's going to happen to the potato then is it's going to swell. The potato is going to swell. Why will it swell? Because more water is going into it, so it's going to swell up. It's going to increase mass and it's going to get heavier. So the water is entering the potato. Now let's talk about this situation here where we've got very salty water, and we're going to compare what's happening out here compared with what's happening in the potato. So for very salty water then, that means it's got a high concentration of salt compared with inside the potato. There's more salt outside than there is inside. So that means we've got a low concentration of salt inside the potato. Let's think about the water then. If we've got a high concentration of salt, that means we've got a low concentration of water outside of the potato, and inside we've got a high concentration of water. So, which way is the water going to move this time? Well, the water's actually going to go out of the potato because it's trying to balance the concentration gradient because there's high water in the potato and low outside, so the water's going to move out. So what happens to the potato then? The potato is going to shrivel. The potato will shrivel up and it will decrease in mass because the water is exiting the potato. Okay, so in this case, salt's equal, water's equal. So salt equal, water equal. So what's going to happen to the water? Well, there's not going to be any net movement. Water will still move in and out, but overall there'll be no movement, so there'll be no change. Just going to give you a couple of terms to describe this because you may well have heard of one of these terms before. Okay, now, so what we're doing is when we describe these, we're describing the solution. So the solution on the outside in which our cells are in. So this has got low salt, so we call this hypo. Hypo means low. Tonic. On this side where we've got higher concentration of our salt compared with the inside, we call this hypertonic. And let's see if you've heard of this word before. When it's the same, we say it's isotonic. And that's the word that you may well have heard of with sports drinks. It's isotonic. It means it's got the same amount of salt as the cells of the body, so that it doesn't make you dehydrated. So isotonic is ideal for your sports drinks. Now, it's not just salt. When we talk about something that's dissolved in the water, we call it the solute. The solute is the substance that's dissolved in the liquid, dissolved in the water. And the solute could be salt, it could be sugar, it could be lots of different things. And the actual water we call another word called the solvent. Okay, that's the liquid in which the substance dissolves. So that's osmosis.